share something important today. First of all, I want to appreciate God for the privilege to be alive. I want to appreciate God for the privilege of having this business. Yeah, and I want to appreciate our mentors. I want to appreciate our mentors, especially Ambassador Dr. Elijah Mba. I want to thank you, sir, for all your guidance to Stand Nation and all the steps you provide for us to follow to succeed in this business. I want to especially appreciate my upline and my mentor, Ambassador Architect Moses Onu, and all the top leaders of Stand Nation here for the privilege to share my few ideas and points with us this morning. Okay, and I also want to congratulate my team member, Barrister Mrs. Ugwu'S, who just shared her testimony. I remember when she signed up, the fears in her face and all of that. But thank God today, she also mentoring others. So this morning, I'm going to be sharing something very important with us. And I need us to pay attention and make notes. As I'm talking to you, as I'll be talking to you this morning, I'm also talking to myself. Yesterday night, I was going through what I prepared, and I was sincerely challenged too. Okay, so I'm not just going to be sharing with us what as a master, but I'm also sharing and learning from what God wants to tell us this morning. Yes, when I was thinking of what to discuss, I went through it over and over again. Several things came to my mind, but I remembered that at the point I was thinking of what to share, I remember that why all of us, everybody here this morning, why we signed into the business was because we want to be financially free. Yes, we want to be financially free. We want to achieve, want to come to a point in our life that we can all be able to achieve financial freedom. We want to be able to do those things that we desire to do for ourselves, for our family, for our children, and all that, and be able to fulfill all of those things and be happy. Yes, we wanted to be financially free. We want to come to a point in our life where money is not going to be a problem anymore. That is why we joined the business. We didn't join the business because we have so much money. No, nobody joined the business because you have so much money and don't know what to do with your money. So you just decided to give your money to M Global. No, that is not why we joined the business. There was something that triggered us. If you can remember the day you sat down for the presentation, you can remember that day. There was something you saw. There was something that caught your attention. Okay? There was something that caught your attention. Barrister Mrs. Ugwu'S was sharing with us that she wanted to retire and still have a reason to live. She don't want to retire and retire to nothing. Okay, that is a reason. Okay, all of us, and that is just towards financial freedom too. All of us wanted to achieve financial freedom. And then I was considering, okay, why is it that many persons, even after joining the business, we are not achieving those things that we want to achieve? We're not accomplishing those things that we wish to accomplish. We're not achieving those things that we want to achieve. Some persons have stayed 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and yet we are not getting to the point of those things that we want to be able to achieve. Now, this morning, we're going to be discussing that. Now, what actually triggered me as a person, part of my story, okay, because I joined this business because I wanted to achieve financial freedom. So what is it that actually triggered me? My life before I saw this opportunity was miserable. I was living a life of serious pain before I saw this opportunity. I'm the first son in my family. So I wanted, of course, I grew up seeing my family in a big mess, in a big financial mess. I didn't like what I was seeing as the first son in my family. Our first daughter, my elder sister, dropped out of school. Can you hear me? Somebody saying that my network is bad. If you can hear me loud and clear, please just type loud and clear on the chat handle. You can hear me loud and clear. Type loud and clear. Okay, so please check your. If you are not hearing very well, that means it's from your end. Good. So I saw my elder sister drop out of school because of money. So in my entire family, nobody was a graduate as at that time. In fact, as a matter of fact, I'm the first graduate in my family. Yes. And I remember one day I was talking with my dad outside the house. We're just sitting there, we're discussing. And he looked at, I told him that I will go to university. And he looked at me and said, John, how are we going to do it? He didn't know. In fact, it was like a shock to him. You know, somebody who tried to raise the first child, and then along the line, she dropped out of school, not because she's not brilliant, but because there was no money. So the whole thing, the whole family was just like that. It was just like that. So there was nothing that somebody could lay hold on in my family and say, this is it. In fact, as a matter of fact, in my village, my family was looked upon as the least family in the village. It was that bad. It was that bad. In fact, a lot of things, a lot of challenges. I was angry in my spirit. I saw those things. In fact, my dad was forced to do certain things in the village that he's not supposed to do. But people were looking at him as he has nobody, he doesn't have anybody to speak for him, nothing. And I saw those things at a tender age, as a young boy. I was angry in my spirit. Some of us, maybe you could relate, some of those things happened to some of us. In fact, I remember, of course, as a young growing child, I'll go out to play, people will beat me up. Nobody, because nobody to speak for me. It was that bad. Nobody to speak. I was angry. I saw those things, I didn't like it. When other children be doing certain things, my parents drew a boundary for us, drew a boundary. You know, that kind of thing, you know, we can't do this thing because our family is like this. You know, we can't do this thing because our family is like that. They keep reminding us, in fact, my own parents keep reminding us that we are poor. And that is why we can't do certain things. It was that bad. So when I grew up as a young man, I wanted to be able to change the story. As I grew up, I saw myself. I said, no. As the first son, I wanted to be able to challenge those things. I wanted to be able to challenge those things. But I was not seeing that coming. I remembered I stayed with my uncle from my primary 4 to JS1. I stayed with my uncle. When my uncle brought me back home, I stayed with my uncle in the town. My uncle brought me back home when he said, in fact, he saw that he couldn't even help it. So he brought me back to the village. And then my principal in the school, when we're signing transfer certificates, those days that they still make use of transfer certificate in secondary school. You want to move from one secondary school to another. So my uncle went to meet the principal in the town where we were staying in Cross River. He signed the transfer certificate. He was complaining, the principal was complaining to my uncle that he's taking the brilliant students out of the school. So told my uncle all the things that they should make sure they send me to a better school and all of that. So when my uncle brought me back home, we had a family meeting. Everybody was called. Everybody in my family was called. We had a family meeting, and my uncle raised the matter My uncle raised the matter. What the principal repeated the same thing that the principal told him. So they were like, so they should make how to send me to a better school, a boarding school and all of that. So after the discussion, the family agreed that they are going to send me to a better school in Nsukka town, a boarding school. So that was the agreement in the meeting. So to send me to school, they have to do a family meeting on my head. They have to do a family meeting to send me to school. The whole family was called together. They have to do a family meeting to send me to school. At the end of the day, till today, the outcome of that meeting was not carried out. So the boarding school, I could not go. Nobody, no money came. Nobody responded to that meeting. After we waited and waited and waited and waited, and no hope was coming, my parents decided to say, you can go to community secondary school. That was it. So I had to go back to community secondary school, and I started school. Till today, the outcome of that meeting was not carried out. So I finished secondary school, of course, went to community secondary school. Finishing secondary school, I wanted to, of course, I told my dad I would go to school, university. He was still querying my decision. Before I got admission, lost my dad. Before I got admission, we lost my dad. My dad died. I cried and cried and cried. And while I was weeping, one of my friends walked up to me, a young man, and he told me, he said, John, if you finish crying, remember you are supposed to write JAMB. If you finish crying, remember you are supposed to write JAMB. You know what that means? So I had to comfort myself. I had to stop crying, and I had to go and start consoling my siblings. From that moment, it was clear to me that I have to take responsibility of my life. And one day my mom met with me, and she told me, say, your dream of going to school cannot be forgotten. So my mom struggled to raise money with myself and my siblings. I started, in fact, when I finished secondary school, I started teaching in a private school. I started teaching in a private school to raise money. So I was able to raise money, register for JAMB, and then I wrote first JAMB and second JAMB. I got admission. I got 2 admissions, one UNN, the other one College of Education in Hamufu. UNN and College of Education in Hamufu. I was in the church one day, went for service. I was in the church one day, one morning, and a young man from my hometown, met with me. From my hometown, he met with me. I remember vividly that morning where we were standing, and he looked at me and he said, John, I heard you got admission. I said, yes, I got admission. He said, I heard you got admission in UNN. I said, yes, I got admission. Me. Is going to train. What he said. He said, John, I heard you got admission, but who is going to train you in the university? That was what he told me. Who is going to train you in the university? Imagine that kind of, and when he made that statement, the thing got to me. Who is going to train you in the university? And after that day, the truth is, I can't remember what exactly. I couldn't even give him exact response. But I just told him, I will go. I just told him, I will go. And that it became a challenge. I went back home and we started planning. Entering UNN, we paid acceptance fee. After paying acceptance fee, we paid school fees. After paying school fees, there was no money again. Nothing. I was left like that, going to school. So which Where am I going to stay? No hostel, no accommodation, nothing. No arrangement for accommodation. In fact, I was like going from home to school. It wasn't possible because even if I decide to go from home, transportation, what am I going to do? The transportation, what am I going to do with the how am I going to solve the transportation problem? Because even money to transport myself was difficult. Somebody gave me a phone number of somebody, Dr. Ifechkuneme Banuka from Anambra State. He was studying veterinary medicine in UNN. Gave me his contact. I carried my bag and then went to UNN. Faculty of Biological Science in UNN, Jimbaz. When I got to Jimbaz in UNN, I called the young man and he came there and picked me. He came to Jimbaz and picked me. And that was how, of course, took me to his hostel in Njoku, and I started squatting there. That was how my squatting story started in UNN. I squatted from my first year to my final year in UNN. From first year to final year, I was squatting in UNN. I couldn't pay accommodation, not even for one single semester, not even for one single year. From first year to final year, I was squatting because there was no money. I was just managing myself. I hear students saying they go to school, they get beverages for themselves. Beverage, my own beverage is okpa. My mom will grind okpa and give to me. We will get Ugwu'S and okpa. My mom, of course, used to sell okpa then when I was younger. So I know how to cook okpa. I learned how to cook okpa from my mom. So you give me okpa and Ugwu'S and gari. I'll cook okpa, I'll cook. That was what I was doing in the hostel where I was squatting. In fact, even when I cook okpa, they named my okpa 206 in UNN because of when I cooked okpa, everybody will make sure that they eat that okpa. People were coming to my room, because my roommates, we carried up and be advertising it, and people will come and be collect okpa 206. That's what I used to call my okpa. I never had any beverages for once as a student. If I don't cook okpa, I'll cook soup. That was it. That was it. And then from that, God helped me. I finally graduated. When I was leaving UNN, from all the pains I went through, I remember those days, if I cook food and keep, they will eat it. Fresh water and keep, they'll use the water. Because I was squatting in school, so nobody gave me that respect. I was squatting. If I make noise, they will remind me, remember you are squatting, oh. Remember you are squatting, oh. I was squatting. So I will cook food and keep, they will carry the food and eat. I will fetch water and keep, they will carry the water and use. I lost my self-esteem. I lost my self-esteem because of that. I lost my self-esteem. I was feeling the pains, but it was, I was feeling the pains. Leaving school. In fact, I remember the day we finished our final exam. Okay. There was, sorry for that network interruption. I hope you can hear me now. So it was painful. I felt the pain badly, but I couldn't help it. You know that kind of pain, you're feeling pain, but you can't help it. You are feeling pain, but you can't help it. I felt the pain. I felt the pain so much. I lost my self-esteem as a young man. Situation, something I could challenge. I couldn't challenge it because every moment is reminding me that if anything make me to leave this place, I don't have any other place to go to. If anything make me to leave the room, there is no way I'm going to stay. If anything will make me, I remember the day we wrote our final exam. That evening, people were coming to confess. It was like a confession session. The other one will come, John, I'm very sorry. I'm the one that did this one to you. Sorry, I offended you. They were just coming to confess. It was like a confession night that day. I felt the pain, but I couldn't help it. Now, leaving UNN, I made the decision that I'm going to reward my mom. I'm going to reward my mom for her effort sending me to school. I made that decision that day, that I'm going to reward my mom for her effort sending me to school. After I started searching for a job, I stayed in Abuja with my younger brother. I had to stay at my younger brother's house in Abuja. Was doing business in Abuja then. So I stayed with him, looked for a job in Abuja, 1 year, 6 months, nothing. From Abuja to Jos. I was invited for an interview. It was, of course, I was in Abuja then. After the interview, they asked me, they gave me a call to resume. Upon resumption, I was to resume the office in Jos. On arrival, I was denied the job. I entered the office that day. I was denied the job. I lost the job upon resumption. And that was how the pain of my experience in Jos started. I stayed in Jos. I was wandering the street of Jos. It was one young man that came to my rescue, gave me accommodation, and then I was going to his own office, coming back. I was looking for a job. He was taking me around. Hunger nearly killed me in Jos. I nearly died of hunger in Jos. I was trekking the streets of Jos. The little change I had on me finished. The same squatting story, even with my certificate. I squatted in Jos looking for a job. It was when I stayed for several months, nothing was happening. One day, I called myself for an executive meeting. You know what the meeting was for? I told myself that day that instead of me dying where no man could recognize me, it is better I die where people could see me. So I took a decision, returning back. I had to tell myself, go back home before you die. And then December 2017, I left Jos. Started coming back to Enugu. On my way coming back, in fact, it was my reverend in the church. My reverend in the church had to gather money for me from offering, had to gather money for me to give me for transportation. I had to, of course, I started coming back. They raised transport money for me. I started coming back to Enugu. That's a graduate, a lion from the University of Nigeria. A hungry lion. Imagine that situation. I came back to Enugu. I couldn't go back to my village. I was ashamed of myself going back to the village with nothing. Imagine that is somebody's first son, the first graduate in the family, the only person that the entire family is depending on. I came back. I couldn't go back to my hometown. I was ashamed of myself. And guess what I did? I said, I won't go to the village. I will stay in Enugu town. I had to stay in Enugu town. But where will I stay? My parents are not in the town. So which house am I going to stay? I called the training first Enugu zone. I met with him. And then I told the man, sir, please, of course, I attended NIFES on campus. I told the man, please, I am back to Enugu and I am here to look for a job. How can you help me, sir? How can you help me, sir? And then he looked at me and said, John, you can stay in the NIFES zonal office. You can stay in the NIFES zonal office. And that was how my squatting in the NIFES zonal office started. From December 2017. From December 2017, I started squatting in the NIFES zonal office. Yes. Is where?
All right. Please let's hold on. Let's hold on. I guess Ambassador John is experiencing some network issues. Okay. So let's hold on for him. Make sure that the network knocks you out to find yourself back into the meeting. All right, all right. So I'm sure we have been getting value. I'm sure we have gotten value so far. Okay. I'm sure we are getting value. We are getting value. If you're getting value, just go over to the comment section and type value. If you're getting value, if you've gotten value so far, go over to the comment section and type value, 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 value. All right, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I hope you're not just getting value, but you are jotting down. I hope you are seated with your writing materials. I hope you're seated with your writing material because I've gotten so much value. Life will mess you up, but we are unstoppable. We are unstoppable. We are unstoppable. We are unstoppable. Okay, we are unstoppable. All right, so let's hold on for him. He will join us shortly. Let's hold on for him. Let's hold on for him. All right. So do not forget that the trip, that's the Mombasa trip challenge is still on. So let's not forget that. Let's make sure that we are doing the activities, we're doing everything possible to help us qualify for that trip because our business. There's no how you go for a trip and your business remains the same. So let's do everything possible to make sure that we qualify for the trip. All right. Let's do everything possible to make sure that we qualify for the trip. All right, all right, all right. All right, please let's hold on. I'm going to be back shortly. Don't worry. I'm not going to cut this story short. Don't worry. He'll be back shortly. He'll be back shortly. He'll be back shortly. So let's just give him 1 minute. Just give him a minute. He'll be back shortly. He'll be back shortly. Network got nothing on us. We are unstoppable. Network got nothing on us. We are unstoppable. All right? We are unstoppable. All right?
Please, I'm back.
All right, so okay. All right. All right. All right, Ambassador John is back. Ambassador John is back. So let's give him a minute to connect his device. Let's make his device co-host.
My second device, please.
Okay.
All right, Don,
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that network interruption. Sorry, please. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. I'm back. Okay. Sorry, don't mind network. Don't mind network. We go win now. Okay. So I was sharing my brief story, how my squatting in the NIFES zonal office started. And it started December 2017. Okay. And how was I managing? Listen, how I was feeding myself then was the support of my friends. My friends will come around and then take, of course, give me, maybe somebody will just say, okay, today let's go out, and just give me something. Give me something. That day, it will serve as what I will eat for the day. I was hungry, I was in pain until the day I got the text message from my upline and my mentor, Architect Moses, Ambassador Architect Moses on. He sent me a message that he has a get together in his house. So I went for that get together, and that was the day I saw the opportunity. That day I saw the opportunity, I was not up to 1,000 naira rich. Good dash monkey banana. 1,000 naira from where? I was not up to 1,000 naira rich. I was broke, damn broke. The pains of poverty was on me. I didn't know how to even get started. But there was a statement that Architect Moses, Ambassador Architect Moses made that day. I can't forget that statement in his home launch. He said, when we came, before he even played the video, because it was not a presentation, we watched that video. We watched a video. So he said, are you people aware that between now and December, we can be millionaires? That statement shocked me. Of course, he first asked us to share our story, what we want to be, what we want to achieve, our dream. What is our dream? What do we want to achieve? And after we shared, he now said, he made that statement carelessly. It was not careless, but me, I would just say, the way he made that statement, the thing stick to my heart. Say, are you aware that between now and December, we can be millionaires? I looked at him and I said, what does this young man mean? Me, millionaire. That thing shocked me. That statement was it for me. And then he said, okay, let's watch this video. He played the video. I sat down, watched the video with others. After watching, somebody now asked another question. What's the difference between 1 account, 3 account, and 7 account? They answered the question. And then from there, I made a decision. I never had 1 naira, but I decided I was going for 3 profit center. That was because 200,000 naira was like millions to me that time. 200,000 was like millions to me that time. I said, okay, if I can't go for that, I can go for the one of 3 account. But where is the money? No money. So I had to start. I started making calls immediately. I was excited. I was looking at myself. I went back home. I couldn't sleep. I closed my eyes. I was seeing matching bonus, matching bonus, matching bonus, matching bonus. That was all I was seeing that day. I made a call. I borrowed from my younger brother, but he had to borrow the money to borrow me. Some of us have heard that story before. My younger brother borrowed the money to borrow me. He borrowed the money to borrow me. And after, of course, he was even arrested because I couldn't pay back fast. To cut the story short, so that I can share with you. You know, I have to share this story because of the topic before us, the price for financial freedom. The price for financial freedom. It was painful. I borrowed from my brother who borrowed the money from another person, and he was arrested because I couldn't pay back fast. I started my business. Guess what was dealing with me? Loss of self-esteem was dealing with me. I looked at my condition. Building my business initially was tough because presenting the business to people with my poverty condition, it was not easy. It was not easy from the pains that was surrounding me. But guess what? The determination was there to succeed. Now listen to me. I had to pay the price. I had to go what I went through that time. I was looking for a way to survive. Look at me here. This was 4 years ago, 2019. This is me looking this way. You can see me there. That door was the place where I was squatting. That was a zonal office. You can see me. The head is bigger than the whole body. It was painful. Some of us, listen to me right now. Maybe you might have the same story. Maybe your own might even be tougher than mine. But look at that. This is Ambassador John. You can see me there. You can see me. You see my closest friend that time. He said, you are the average of our closest friend. See the way all of us were looking. Poverty was dealing with me. Of course, looking at my condition here, you know I needed financial freedom. You know I needed financial freedom. I had to go through those pain and build my business. For the sake of time, let me quickly run. It was the first event I attended in Abuja that opened my eyes. January 2019, the first event, the first event I attended in Abuja, the first retreat, I saw people sharing their story. I saw people sharing their story the same way I'm sharing today. And it made me understand that I can succeed. I saw people succeeding. I saw success with my eyes. People who came from nothing to something. And I told myself, if people are succeeding, then I can succeed. What are you telling yourself today? See people succeed, see people make it in this business. Are you telling yourself it is possible, or you're telling yourself it is not possible? Some persons listen to me right now. You are seeing people who are succeeding. But instead of encouraging yourself, you are discouraging yourself the more. Are you telling yourself that it is possible? That was what I saw possibility. And I said, if these persons are succeeding, then I will succeed. The people that we used to use their story in our presentation then. I met with them. I saw them. I took pictures with them. I came back from that retreat a different man. I came back a madman, and I said, if these people could succeed, I will succeed. And that was the day I told loss of self-esteem, not me and you. I broke my relationship with poverty. I broke my ties with loss of self-esteem. And I started doing my business. I started taking responsibilities of my business. And guess what? My life changed. The results started showing up. Results started showing up. 3 years later, I became a global ambassador. In fact, between January and it was March 2019, I qualified for my first vacation. You see, things started changing in my life. I went for my first vacation, came back, became a global ambassador, bought my first car. I need you to listen to me. This car is not just my first car, the first car in my entire family. I told you the history of my family. My family, I never heard in a story, in a history, that anybody ever owned a bicycle in my family. I bought this, my first car. The first car in my entire family. It has never happened that anybody bought car in my family. No history. In fact, no history, no bicycle, no machine. In my entire, it was this car, the very first, the day my mom saw this car, she shed tears. The day my mom saw that the son bought a car, she shed tears. The day my siblings saw that somebody bought a car, in the fact it was unbelievable. People were like, how? How did it happen? How did it happen? In this family, somebody bought a car. That is it. Now listen to me. I went for several exotic vacations. The first person to enter aircraft in my entire family, my entire generation. In fact, it was this first vacation that took me to the airport. In my entire life, I've never been to the airport. I've never touched a plane before. Talk more of entering airplane. I've never touched it. Before this business, I've never been to the airport. Before this business, I don't even know how airports used to look like. I've never. It was this business that gave me the privilege. The first time I entered the airport was through this business. The day I went to do my yellow card and then for my first travel. You need to surprise your village people. The day I went home and I told my family that I'll be traveling abroad. They say, how? Slide in the air. Somebody from the family, how? Surprise your village people. I took them by surprise. See, listen, I took my village people by surprise. You have to take your village people by surprise. And this business has the capacity to do that for you. Take your village people by surprise. While they were still wondering how I traveled out, while they were still wondering how I bought my first car, I went back home and I built this beautiful place for my parents, for my family. My dad tried as much as he could. Guess what? He could only succeed in building a house built with sand and then roof it with zinc. The house we were living in my family was not built with block, was not built with cement. It was built with mud, you know, that kind of house, with sand, and then roof it with zinc, roasted zinc. I went back home and I built this house for my family. The day after, of course, as I was building this house, it took them by surprise. 6 months, it was already standing. And it was launched between between June 2020, the house was dedicated. My reverend came and dedicated it 28th December 2020. I took my village people by surprise. Listen to me. This business has a capacity to change your life. I remember those days. I can't forget, and I'll keep appreciating my upline, Ambassador Architect Moses. He will be talking to us, his leaders. He said, how can I be the only one driving luxury car? How can I be the only one driving luxury car? Each time he said it, the thing will pierce my heart. And right within me, I'll be making promises to him. I will say it out. I will say, don't worry, boss. I will make you proud. I will make you proud. That was what I was saying. He will say, how can I be the only one driving luxury car? How can I be the only one driving luxury car? In our leaders meeting, and in my heart, I will say, I will make you proud. I will make you proud. I paid for my first Mercedes Benz over 10 million naira. And they started giving me stories. And he told me, he said, go and buy another car. And guess what? I had to buy another one. That is it. Listen to me. For the sake of time, let me go straight to the point. Share a few things. If this story is the only thing I did this morning, I want to believe that you are not going back the same. I want to believe that this morning you are challenged. We sign up into this business because we want financial freedom. Listen, signing up is the first thing, but that is not the only thing. That is not the only thing.